Narrate it. Narrate it. This might be the thing that Alan and I have been talking the most about recently. I think it's something we have seen we need to grow in. It's probably the one that's on the list that I would say I don't know if it describes us up until now. It's one that we know we need to grow in. So when I say narrate it, obviously I mean like I've been rewatching Arrested Development, and the best part of the show is Ron Howard narrating over and making the jokes and the connections and stuff. So a narrator's job is to describe what's happening in a way that as a viewer, I'm able to follow along and I understand what's happening. They connect the dots. They show how things are connected in ways that I might otherwise not pick up on or perceive. So when we say narrate it, that's kind of what we're talking about, and I'll break it down into two parts here. The first one is you have to tell people what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why it's good for them. What we're doing, why we're doing it, and why it's good for them. And you can never, ever, ever stop explaining it. What we're doing, why we're doing, why it's good for them. People will not remember, they will not listen, they will not hear, they will not embody it unless you keep on saying it. So we were visiting with Summit Church years ago, and one of the things that J.D. Greer was talking about when we were there, he said he had just realized at that point, he said, when I am tired of saying it, my staff has just heard it. When my staff is tired of hearing it, our church has just heard it. Well, that's a helpful way to think about it. It's not wrong if we are tired of hearing about something. That probably means other people are just now starting to hear it. You just can never, ever, ever stop explaining. When we first came across this concept, no one really told it to us this way. We picked up on it. We started to realize this is a pattern in really good leaders. They do it intuitively. They are always talking about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and why it's good for whoever is involved. And when we first actually picked up on it, we called it daboing because Clemson's coach, he just constantly does it. It's unbelievable. He doesn't script it. It's just completely natural to him. He is always, always, always doing this. And I picked up on it because I was watching this obscure leadership talk that was a Skype phone call that was recorded between him and another guy, and it's on YouTube with like 1,000 views. I mean, like nobody has seen this thing. And he starts talking about his whole coaching philosophy is based on he wants to serve players' hearts, not their talent, and he wants players to come back and give him a hug when they're 35 and say, I understand why you did everything that you did now. He said that's his thing, is that he will sit. So we lost the national championship because our second best receiver got sent home for the Orange Bowl because he had smoked weed over Christmas break. So he said, I'm doing that because at age 35, I want him to come back and give me a hug and say, I respect you and I appreciate it, and that's what I needed when I was 20 years old. So that was he was just saying this on this. I've never heard him say it anywhere else, just this completely random, obscure video that's online that I came across. And then a few days later, Clemson got a commitment from a receiver in Florida, 5-star, should have gone to Miami normally, but he committed to Clemson. And in his commitment interview, he says, I decided I wanted to go somewhere that would care about me when I'm 34 years old and not just when I'm 18 years old. And here's what connected with me. If all Dabo had done was just build his program in a way that he cared about players when they were 34 or 35, but he never told people that's what he was doing, they would not have picked up on it. That wide receiver would not have noticed, you know what I'm starting to see? He cares about me when I'm 34. He'd have never connected those dots. But what Dabo did was on a recruiting phone call, he said, hey, I want you to know what my philosophy is. I care more about you at age 34 than I do at age 18. You break the rules, you're sitting. You're getting sent home. Because I want you to be cultivated with character. I'm not going to serve your talent. I'm going to serve your heart. And I want you to hug my neck when you're 34. That's why I do everything that I'm doing. And so that receiver takes that. Now he's able to see, oh, that's why they're doing all these decisions. They care about me when I'm 34. He narrated. Dabo narrated. If you don't tell people why you're doing what you're doing and what you're doing specifically and why it's good for them, it is going to go bad for you. I'll give you another example just real quick because I'm a hypocrite because I don't do this well, but I require it if you want me to follow you. I just require it. And I don't even mean to. I just do. So this is another Say La Dance thing. I don't know why that's the theme. But at her dance studio, there's a rule. You have to take your dance shoes off before you walk to the car. And so sometimes I'm picking her up for dance, and it's like, Hunter's with me. There's 100 people. We're parked right there. Just walk. This is a stupid rule. Just walk to the car. And all the moms, the dance moms, just like give me one of these, faces when my daughter just walks to the car. But then somebody just explained to me, well, that's because if they're wearing their tap shoes and they scuff them on the pavement, next time they're in the dance studio, they can really mess up the hardwood floor. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Let's stop and change your shoes, right? I'm totally willing to do it if you just explain why. Like, just tell me why you have this rule. And it's like, oh, no, that actually is a good reason. I'm willing to do that. But if you don't tell me, I'm not doing it. I think your rule's dumb until you explain why it is. I needed a narrator. And my thoughtful, caring wife stepped in as my narrator. Here is what John Gordon says. Where there is a void in communication, negativity fills it. Where there is a void in communication, negativity fills it. People will assume horrifying things about your motives if you do not tell them why you're doing what you are doing. They will just assume that you are the worst human ever and assign awful motives to you. Where there's a gap in communication, negativity fills it. I shared this with staff one day. There was this study done with two companies who changed offices. Both of them changed into an open concept office layout. Similar price for the offices, similar layout, open concept. The first company explained to their employees, we're going open concept because we want you to collaborate. We want you to not feel isolated and alone in your jobs. We want you to work alongside others. And we think that will cause our productivity to increase and our products to be better. The second company said, hey, we're changing offices, box up your stuff. 6 months later, they interviewed both companies. The first company, who had narrated the move, those employees said, I just really sense that I'm collaborating more. I don't feel as isolated in my work. I'm grateful that we have this open concept, and I actually think my productivity has gone up. The second company, that didn't have a narrator, said, all our company cares about is saving money. So they built us these cheap, open concept offices where people are distracting me all the time and I'm miserable. It's the same thing, except one of them had a narrator and the other didn't. And without a narrator, negativity filled up the communication gap. People who assume the worst about others are sinning, and they are wrong. They must be challenged, and they need to repent. And also, we need to narrate. Both can be true. This applies to your life group, to your parenting, ministry areas, any arena in which you are leading. It's massively important, narrating. One of the guys we met with at Austin Stone when we visited there, his name was Ross Lester. He was South African. He was awesome. He said, the clearest communicator gets the most loyal team. The clearest communicator gets the most loyal team. If you will narrate what you're doing for your people, they will be loyal to you because they'll know why you're doing it and why it's good. The clearest communicator gets the most loyal team. We explained the 4 elements of life group meeting time. And it was like people got saved. They were so like, oh, well, that's why we're doing that. Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. You guys actually thought about, of course we thought about this. What do you mean? You didn't know we thought about it? Of course yes. We spent a ton of time thinking about it. We never narrated it. We never explained, here's why we're inviting you to do these 4 things in your life group meeting time and why they're good. So people were just like, this one's stupid, I don't want to do it. They were just dismissing ones because they didn't know. We didn't narrate for them. Got to narrate. Second one is important, but I'm going to hit it quick. You got to highlight the bright spots. You got to highlight the bright spots. Never, never, never let a praise go unsaid. When something good happens, you got to praise it. Help people connect the dots as to why it's a good thing, how it helps us accomplish our mission. So when someone does something well, you got to speak it out in a way that makes other people want to do the same right thing, right? You got to celebrate what you want to be repeated. You replicate what you celebrate. Hey. So you got to highlight the bright spots. Never let a praise go unsaid.